After breaking up with my ex-boyfriend, we continued as friends with benefits because our physical chemistry was too strong. After one intimate encounter, he tossed me half a box. I'm getting married and we're trying for a baby, so I won't need these anymore. I've set up a blind date for you. Go meet him. Don't keep hanging around me. Find some man to take you off my hands. I picked up my clothes, dressed silently, and left. I didn't go on the blind date. After all, my white moonlight had returned from abroad. He had no idea I'd secretly found a placeholder. After a thorough and satisfying session, I caught my breath, gathered my change of clothes, and walked into the bathroom. Gu-kun never cleaned me up afterward. When I came out drying my hair, he was leaning against the headboard. He picked up the half-used box of strawberry-flavored ultra-thin condoms and casually tossed it into my arms. He'd casually mentioned liking strawberry flavor when we were dating, and I'd kept it stocked ever since. I caught the box, a bit stunned. I'm entering into a marriage alliance, so I won't need these for trying to conceive, he explained offhandedly, biting a newly lit cigarette. The ember flickered in the dim light. Even just buckling his belt, he exuded a slovenly, rakish air. Seeing me staring blankly, he gave a roguish grin, his voice still husky from indulgence. I found you a blind date. Go meet him. He blew a smoke ring at me, and I couldn't help coughing. He smirked, all flippant. So sensitive, he said. You young ladies are so delicate. My wife can't stand it either, so I only smoke in front of you and the other guys. We'd known each other for years, but we really got close at a party last year. He fit my aesthetic perfectly. I'd heard he went through girlfriends quickly. I secretly checked his medical report, confirmed he was clean, and then bravely pursued him. Everyone said he was casual, but I chased him for half a year. I even weaseled into his bro group, played the role of a buddy for 6 months, and finally won him over. But after dating for half a year, he said, "We're better off as friends." We broke up, but because we were physically compatible, we kept a friends with benefits arrangement for another year. Back then, I'd frown and complain about the smell of smoke countless times. He'd always pass the smoke to me through a kiss, grinning wickedly. Can't kick it, you'll just have to get used to it. Anyway, you'll always be with me. But now he's willing to change for someone else. He fastened his watch, curling his lips carelessly. Don't keep clinging to me. Find some guy to take you off my hands. Here, this half box of ultra-thin ones, you too can use them. I clutched the box, my throat dry. You just said in bed, use it tonight. He flicked off the ash. I need to save my energy for husbandly duties at home tonight. My wife is young and clingy. I don't know how you young ladies have so much stamina. My mind went blank as I shoved the half-empty box of ultra-thins into my pocket. Okay, got it. There was indeed some regret. I'd thought our bodies were a good match and wanted to play around a bit longer. But he had a fiancée, so I had to let it go. I was probably the one among Gu-kun's female companions who cut things off the cleanest. He raised an eyebrow in mild surprise and handed me a card. Take this as compensation. Same rules as before. Shunzi will send you the contact info for the blind date. Don't forget to show up. Shunzi was his best friend. I usually went through Shunzi when I couldn't reach him. I took the card quietly. He casually stubbed out his cigarette, and when he looked up, the usual carelessness in his eyes was laced with a warning. Don't cause trouble in front of my wife. You know what I'm capable of. Of course I knew. The Gu family's businesses were tangled and deep, and the Gu family members were cold and ruthless. But I never said I was going to cause trouble. He really liked that girl that much. I lowered my eyes. Got it. His expression relaxed, which counted as satisfaction. After tidying up, he left first, and I would leave half an hour later. That was our unspoken agreement, even during our dating days. Back at my place, my phone screen lit up. The contact push from Shunzi arrived as promised, and at the same time, a piece of entertainment news popped up. The eldest son of the Gu family made a public appearance with his fiancée, signaling a powerful alliance between the Gu and Su families. I tapped to open it. In the photo, Gu-kun had his arm around the girl's waist, his eyes following her every smile and frown, his gaze unusually focused, a tenderness I had never seen before. Netizens flooded the comments, saying, "What is Mr. Gu staring at his fiancée's lips for?" That look is full of sexual tension, even making his fiancée shy. A friend who saw them at a banquet said Mr. Gu never once looked at his phone. When a bit of dessert got on his fiance's lip, he wiped it off with his finger and then casually licked it clean. Who else gets this kind of natural, effortless intimacy? Did anyone notice the ring on his ring finger? Word is he designed it himself, and inside is engraved with his fiance's initials. He never used to wear such things. Indeed, I used to think he was a scumbag with a cool vibe, but now I only see the coolness. It turns out it wasn't a character collapse, it's just that none of the people before me could make him turn over a new leaf. If it weren't for netizens pointing it out, I wouldn't have noticed these details. I once asked Gu-kun to wear couple rings with me, but he scoffed. Childish. We won't get married anyway. What's the point of wearing these fakes? I said nothing. After all, those little romantic gestures between couples, I learned them all from my ex-boyfriend. I didn't add the blind date contact. I closed the webpage, put my phone on silent, and went straight to sleep. I slept for a whole day. When I woke up, I saw many messages on WeChat. My bestie was shocked and sent a bunch. Holy crap, Jing. Your ex, Paid Sung-sui, is back in the country. Check WeChat. Answer the phone. He's already off the plane. My heart stopped. In the year I maintained a relationship with Gu-kun, I was never afraid. But at this moment, I was truly terrified. The ex, whose name is Paid Sung-sui, was my ex-boyfriend before Gu-kun. We were college classmates. He was good-looking and ranked first in the major. I admired strength. Unsurprisingly, I was attracted and took action. But he was like a precise machine, his life filled only with data and formulas. I took the opportunity to attend his classes with him, sitting next to him for a whole month, yet he still didn't recognize me. I had to resort to some little tricks. That day I threw the pen into his desk drawer and lightly tapped his shoulder. Classmate, I think my pen is at your place. He turned around and stared at me for 3 seconds, his brow slightly furrowed. Last Tuesday you used the same excuse to get your pen from me, and also on the 26th, 18th, and 12th of last month. Even I couldn't remember, but he listed them one by one. I was overjoyed. Later I added him on WeChat and asked him out in different ways every day. Although I was always rejected, after all, I was the one who liked him, so I couldn't make demands of him. It had been exactly half a year when he agreed to date. Before him, I was a straight girl who had no clue how to pursue someone. I only figured out the tricks after I started dating him, which gave me experience when I later chased Gu-kun. The nickname, Yellow Moonlight, was coined by my best friend to tease me. Because Paid Sung-sui was always insatiable, like a machine that knew exactly where my limit was, and I couldn't handle his frequency. His words from back then surfaced in my mind again. Ayu, don't hide. Ayu, I know your limit isn't here. Hold on for 2 minutes and 18 seconds. You've broken the record again. Ayu, you're amazing. He never skimped on praise, his voice carrying a calm approval that often left me utterly defeated. Later, he was selected by a top overseas research institute. I didn't want to hold him back or wait around, so I took the initiative to break up. Honestly, I even felt relieved. Then later, I met Gu-kun. He was good-looking too. I heard from his ex's expose that he's a Mac type. Slept with him 10 times and felt nothing. Nothing at all. Perfect. That kind of thing is exhausting. After I started dating him, I found out it was true. I could even fall asleep during it. He'd ask me if he was good, and of course I'd say yes. In the 2 years I was with Paid Sung-sui, I never slept that soundly. I pulled my thoughts back and sped up my packing. After all, back then Paid Sung-sui didn't agree to the breakup. He teared up in front of me for the first time. To calm him down and get him to go abroad quickly, I promised him a fake breakup and said I'd wait for him. But the moment he left, I switched my SIM card, moved out, and met Gu-kun. I took clothes out of the closet while calling my best friend. How did you know he was coming back? I checked back then, his project was supposed to take at least 5 years. I shoved the clothes into the suitcase. It's only been 3 years. Why is he back? Bestie, I'm wondering the same thing. Good thing my boyfriend is in the same field, he mentioned it to me. But I heard Paid Sung-sui has made it big as a tech tycoon, really on the rise. I zipped up my suitcase without responding. What are you doing, rustling around? Packing? I lifted the suitcase upright. I need to get out of here for a few days. The line went silent. Avoid what? Can he really eat you? She paused. Seems like he actually could. Then why not think about getting back together? I flinched. But I lied to him and even found Gu-kun. So what? Who told him to be so intense and wear you out? Besides, you're single now, that's all that matters. She had no idea. Once Pae Song-soo sets his mind on something, he calculates every variable. I'll lay low first. Once he's sure I vanished, maybe he'll give up. Grabbing my suitcase, I walked over and pulled open the door, then closed it again. A hand came out of nowhere, firmly pressing against the panel. Pae Song-soo looked down at my suitcase, a smile in his voice. Ayu, where are you planning to go? He pushed the door open and stepped inside, the foyer suddenly feeling cramped. I took a step back. The door clicked shut behind him. His cashmere coat carried the chill of the cold air, but his face was even colder. Before returning to the country, I calculated your possible reactions. Emotion told me you would wait for me like before. Reason told me you would run away and act within hours of confirming my return. Now, it seems reason has won. After 3 years apart, Pae Song-soo had grown thinner. He had a naturally cold face, but a pair of affectionate eyes. Since he could accurately calculate the moment I learned of his return, he naturally knew everything about Gu-kun's matter. Looking calm, but he must be furious inside. He was always like this, jealous and never hiding it. The next step would be what a yellow moonlight does. I quickly looked up and glared at him. Yes, I wanted to escape. What about it? He said nothing, his eyes fixed on me, his gaze shifting from my eyes to my lips, as focused as examining a recovered experimental sample. Just wanted to check on your state, he said softly, but I felt a familiar shiver. That mix of palpitation and retreat, as if the feeling of endless intimacy was about to come again. What is there to check? I tried to maintain my composure. So, what if I lied to you? You were living it up abroad, and now you're back and want to control me. There was a sour note in her voice that she didn't even notice herself. His eyes flickered. Was it because of this reason? No. My heart was racing out of control, but I still insisted on being stubborn. We've broken up already. Why can't I? Before I could finish, he suddenly smiled. I understand you have absolute freedom of choice. My face started to feel hot. I wanted to push him out. In the midst of the violent struggle, a box slipped out of my pocket. It was a half-used box of strawberry-flavored ultra-thin condoms. My scalp tingled as I lunged to pick it up, but a hand picked it up before me. Pae Song-soo opened the box and glanced at it. The corners of his lips slowly curled up. Ayu, you've already prepared it? No, he lifted his eyes, his gaze dark. 3 is a bit few. But since it's Ayu's intention, I'll enjoy it properly. He slowly approached, his breath closing in. It's not for you, I said angrily. But he had already kissed me. I had to admit I still had feelings for him, although thinking about that terrifying frequency of his made me cringe. But this kiss is moist and lingering, more dizzying than in my memory. I close my eyes and let myself drown. He kisses me while moving us toward the bedroom. In the midst of passion, someone knocks on the door. A familiar, lazy voice comes from outside. Xia Jingyu, open the door. I suddenly snap awake. I suddenly remember that Gu-kun did say yesterday when he left that he would come back today to pick up something he left behind. I push Pae Song-soo away. I was just thinking of an excuse to say I'm not home, but the knocking stops. Then my phone rings. The ringtone is especially jarring in the quiet room. The person outside obviously heard it. The knocking resumes, heavier and more impatient than before. Pae Song-soo cups my face and redirects my attention back to him. Ayu, don't open it. I'm a bit flustered, but he already knows I'm home. That's not good. Before I finish speaking, he hangs up the phone in front of me. He leans down and bites into a kiss. Leaving me here is also not good. Between the tangled lips and teeth, he murmurs. You two are over, he's in the past. WeChat popped up with another message. I pulled away from him and grabbed my phone. Sure enough, it was Gu-kun. Why aren't you opening the door at home? Xia Jingyu, I haven't changed my mind. Don't play hard to get with me. My wife is cute and gentle. You can't compare. Not opening the door and hanging up had already hit his sore spot. Now, with my delayed reply, he completely lost it. Fine, then never open the door in this life. Out of old feelings, I thought we might occasionally meet after marriage. But it seems I gave you too much face. I was completely dumbfounded. The phone was suddenly snatched away. Pae Song-soo glanced at the messages. A sneer flashed in his eyes. His kiss fell again, dragging me deeper into the tide of passion. It wasn't until 2 days later that I recalled the fear of being dominated by him. Why don't I ever learn? When he leaned in again, I abruptly pushed against his shoulder and said in panic, "Wait, aren't there only 3 left?" He kissed my lips and leaned in again. "I ordered delivery while you were asleep." Yellow moonlight, as expected of yellow moonlight. I used to fear his ferocity and lack of restraint. Now he has learned to control the pace and arranges rest time for me. The experience has improved more than a notch. Abroad, he kissed my earlobe and whispered, "I have learned a lot." My body stiffened, and my interest faded instantly. Just as I was about to push him away, he held my hand even tighter, pressing it into the pillow. I learned it from studying materials. He looked at me, his tone as if reporting an experiment. "This is the first practical session. After it's over, you have to give me a feedback report. That way I'll know what to do next time to make you more satisfied." 7. When I finally got my hands on my phone again, 3 days had passed. The screen was flooded with messages. "Bestie, where are you? I heard Paid Songsway canceled an important meeting at the last minute. Don't tell me he went to find you? Do I need to call the cops? Okay, I get it. Then Shunzi. The other party said you haven't added him yet. Not satisfied? Do you want me to talk to Brother Kun and find you a better one?" Brother Kun said no. He's afraid you haven't moved on. Don't blame him. He's really fallen for it this time, and he's a bit paranoid. Brother Kun has set up a date for you. Sunday, 3 p.m. at Jimeng Cafe. Don't forget. Isn't it today? Even if I have to go on a blind date, at least you should have asked me first. Is Gu Kun that afraid I'll cling to him? But I clearly haven't done anything. In the end, I finally opened Gu Kun's chat. The latest message was sent 10 minutes ago. "Where are you? You won't answer calls or reply to messages, and you even stood me up for the blind date. Xia Jingyu, what exactly do you want?" A voice message followed. I tapped it open, and a lazy, hoarse voice flowed out. "You've never made such a scene before. Is it because you're this angry over breaking up with me?" I found it familiar. That voice carried the special texture after he'd been intimate. For 3 days, he couldn't reach me, and his first thought wasn't about my safety. Instead, he spent 3 days being tender with his wife, then came back to toss me this scrap of ambiguous testing. Suddenly, I felt a bit nauseous. I replied, "Your wife is great. Treat her well." The next second, his voice call came through. Almost at the same time, the bathroom door opened. Pei Tsongsui emerged, drying his hair, water droplets sliding down his collarbone. My heart raced, and my fingers accidentally brushed the screen. The call connected, Gu Kun's voice echoing clearly in the room. "Xia Jingyu, that blind date of yours waited for you at the cafe all day. Disappearing for 3 days, is this really how you try to get my attention?" He let out a low laugh, carrying his usual ease and confidence. "You're right, my wife is a good woman. But as long as she doesn't find out, what's the problem? When I was dating him, I didn't see anything wrong. It was just mutual convenience. Now looking back, this relationship feels like an indelible stain." I was furious. "Gu Kun, don't flatter yourself. Can you at least show some respect for your wife? Saying that right after climbing out of her bed. Aren't you disgusted with yourself?" Pei Songsui suddenly leaned in and gently bit my lip. A low laugh brushed past my ear. "Research shows cheating only happens 0 times or endlessly. He's not worth your trouble." Ayu looked at me. The other end of the line went dead silent. "Who's with you?" Before I could answer, he suddenly let out a cold laugh. "Xia Jingyu, I thought you were so carefree. Can't keep up the act anymore? Found a man to put on a show and piss me off," he said sarcastically. "Back then, to chase me, you pretended to be in a relationship with someone else. Now you're pulling this trick again? Is it fun?" He thought that was all an act? It was real. He wasn't as easy to win over as he thought back then. And because Pei Tsongsue's departure triggered withdrawal symptoms in my body, I urgently needed a man to help me get through it. When he didn't work out, I switched to someone else. After less than a month of dating, I felt that guy was inferior to Pei Tsongsui in every way, so I went back to focusing on chasing him. I finally succeeded in the end. I also breathed a sigh of relief. No more days of being exhausted to the point of falling apart like before. I used the time I spent being intimate with him to catch up on sleep. During that period, I was glowing. His brothers praised him, saying he was formidable. I just nodded along. No one knew that the formidable Gu-kun they talked about was just a tool in my hands that gave me mild pleasure and helped me sleep well. Amid Gu-kun's sneer, I blocked and deleted him. Pei Song-sui buried his face in my neck, whispering softly, "I like you so much. I miss you so much." Actually, I feel the same way. I just used to force myself not to think about it. But I only took 3 days off. I had to go back to work. I pushed him away to end this absurdity. Later, when I reviewed the details with my bestie, she was silent for a long moment. "You held out for these 3 days this time. Might as well give in to him." I clenched my fists. No way. Who knows what he was like overseas? For 3 years, I deliberately blocked all news about him, afraid I'd soften. He really is great, except for that aspect where I just can't handle him. He's truly flawless. The sound of someone eating sunflower seeds came through the phone. "Don't worry, I've checked around. He's been clean overseas. No women get near him, not even a female mosquito can get close, and no men either, for that matter." I pursed my lips and hurried off to the company. My bestie was still muttering. But my boyfriend said Pei Song-sui seems to have bought an apartment back home. In those 3 years abroad, he always disappeared for a few days during holidays. TSK, now he's just burning through money. My heart gave a slight lurch, but I immediately dismissed that guess. I rejected him so harshly back then. Without me, he had no connections in the city, and even fewer friends. How could he have found me back then? When I arrived at the company, my supervisor handed me a project file. "If you can land this deal, you'll be a real hero." I smiled and took it, but froze the moment I opened the first page. Partner's technical lead, Pei Song-sui. My supervisor teased. What? Stunned by his looks? We all said it's a shame he didn't go into entertainment. I heard his team just cracked the key algorithm for the minimally invasive neural intervention robot. He's riding high now, with domestic companies all clamoring to work with him. I pursed my lips. Okay, let me look through the materials first. It didn't take long to review the materials. It was only then that I learned just how illustrious Pei Song-sui had become. After my best friend found out, she said, "I heard from my boyfriend that they just landed, and the Gu family was already very eager. They seem confident about securing this cooperation. Do you want to contact Pei Song-sui directly?" I hesitated. Actually, the company didn't have high hopes for this partnership. The Pei family's tech company is a rising star in the industry, but the Gu family is the industry leader. Not to mention that now the Gu and Su families are uniting through marriage, forming a powerful alliance. Anyone with sense would choose the Gu Corporation. I brewed a cup of coffee. I'll contact him later. Just like when I was with Gu-kun, I also got tangible benefits from him. Those investments I couldn't beg for, those resources I couldn't reach, he gave them to me effortlessly. He was indeed a mess, but I have to admit that relationship saved me years of detours. Even without those 3 days. The moment I saw this document, I would have contacted Pei Song-sui without hesitation. For the sake of my future. 10. I contacted Pei Song-sui. No one answered the phone. Since I was heading to discuss a collaboration anyway, I took my colleague directly to his company. The receptionist asked if we had an appointment. I said. He didn't answer the phone. Specialist Pei is currently in talks with the Gu Corporation. The receptionist smiled politely. "You can wait a moment. I'll inform him once it's over." I thanked her, while my colleague muttered under his breath. "The Gu Corporation is already here. Do we even stand a chance? Feels like we're just running for show." I didn't respond. Not long after, the elevator doors opened. Gu-kun walked out with his subordinates. He wasn't surprised to see me. He habitually reached for a cigarette but stopped halfway. "You want to cooperate too?" He raised an eyebrow and leaned in, lowering his voice. "Their standards are high. Given your company's size, it probably won't be enough." My colleague looked indignant. I stepped back half a pace. "No need for you to worry about that, President Gu." He stared at me with a sneer. "Xia Jingyu, the act is over now. Time to step out of character." A room key card was pressed into my palm. Same as usual. He leaned in, his eyes locking onto mine. Then, he quickly pulled back. "This project belongs to Gu Corporation, but I can give you other projects." Seeing me grip the key card, the corner of his mouth lifted, and he turned to leave. The front desk immediately received an internal call and respectfully guided me upstairs. It seemed Pate Songsway had seen the message I sent him. As soon as I reached the office, my colleague was naturally led to the meeting room by an assistant. The door gently clicked shut. Pate Songsway's office was clean and cold, just like him. The moment I stepped inside, he rose from his office chair. Before I could speak, he had already pulled me into his arms. He carried me to the sofa and sat me down on his lap. Without saying a word, he buried his face in my neck and nuzzled gently. This is exactly the routine I follow when petting a cat. I froze, not moving. You've settled things with the goo group? He lifted his head, his eyes dark and deep. I've been waiting for you. You knew I would come. He hummed in response, but didn't seem inclined to elaborate. Out of professional duty, I started briefing him on the company. Although our company isn't as big as the Goo Group, we've introduced cutting-edge technology in recent years. He watched me quietly until I finished. Then he nodded without hesitation. Deal. The cooperation came so fast that I hesitated. Maybe you should take another look? He caressed my face. When I left back then, it was for my career. Now that I'm back, it's for you. Our technology leads globally. Cooperating with anyone makes no real difference because the outcome is bound to be success. But cooperating with you is different. This is my sincere gesture of reconciliation. I paused for a moment, then took a room key card from my pocket and placed it in his hand. Goo-kun just gave it to me. I looked up and asked softly, Pate Songsway, do you think I should go? 11 naturally, I didn't go in the end. I didn't expect there to be a bedroom hidden inside his office. Probably because we had been apart before. His service awareness now is astonishing. After it was over, my colleagues had already left, so I could only make an excuse that something had come up. All the candidate companies had come for the equipment collaboration launch event. Although everyone assumed the Goo family was the winner, you could miss the chance to show your face. Take whatever you can. As soon as Pate Songsway arrived, he was dragged off to give an explanation. I took a glass of wine and stood alone in the corner. I had barely taken a sip when I spotted someone familiar. Obviously, Goo-kun had seen me too. He paused mid-step, wrapped an arm around Su Jiao and walked over. Xia Jingyu, you've even chased after him here. Su Jiao tugged at his sleeve. A kun. She's a suitor. He looked down at her with a smile. Probably followed me here. I looked at Su Jiao, the obedient wife Goo-kun had spoken of. Just like her photo, no difference. Her skin was milky white, and her eyes were round like a fawn's. She also glanced at me, hesitating. But she seemed surprised too. Goo-kun's gaze fell on my face. Jiao Jiao is very good at acting. Back then, to pursue me, she disguised herself as my buddy for a whole year. Su Jiao seemed to understand, but not really. Is that so? Then she really put a lot of effort into you. The smile at the corner of Goo-kun's mouth stiffened slightly. At that moment, Pate Songsway walked over. He stopped in front of me and asked softly, Are you cold? Do you want to eat something first? Goo-kun's eyes were cold, as if his prey had been herded into someone else's territory. He raised an eyebrow. Don't tell me Specialist Pei is planning to cooperate with them? Pate Songsway turned and said, It will be revealed later. 12. Goo-kun's group of friends also came. Shunzi sat next to him. Su Jiao couldn't sit still and slipped away to chat with friends. Goo-kun handed his phone to Shunzi, the screen frozen on his chat interface with me. The last message was one he had sent. There was a glaring red exclamation mark in front. What does this mean? Shunzi whispered. Brother Kun, you've been blocked. Goo-kun's face darkened. He actually already regretted it. He shouldn't have cut things off so decisively back then. Maybe I was too accommodating, making him think I would never leave. Or perhaps the novelty of his new wife overshadowed that faint flutter of affection, making him mistakenly think I was just a suitable bedmate. Quitting smoking was hard, but for Su Jiao, he no longer smoked in front of her. But she was delicate and had a keen nose. If she caught even a whiff of smoke, she would make him go shower and brush his teeth. Otherwise, she would throw a tantrum and return to her parents' house. Only when there was no smell at all would she let him touch her. Even in bed, she always seemed disinterested. Are you done? Maybe you should see a doctor. He exhausted himself, but got no emotional payoff in return. And I was never like that. The press conference began, and Pate Songsway went on stage. Gu-kun was restless, his gaze casually sweeping across the stage, but suddenly froze. I was standing in the center of the podium, dressed in a sharp suit skirt, holding the microphone, fluently presenting the proposal in both Chinese and English. Speaking at a steady pace, I seemed to glow under the lights. That was a Xia Jingyu he had never seen before. Confident, professional, dazzling. Pei Song-sui stood behind her, admiringly watching her. Between them was an invisible barrier that no one else could breach. Su Jiao came back, leaning in to complain softly. "Kun, it's so boring. When will it end? I saw an internet-famous shop. The stuff is beautiful. Let's go check it out later." He turned his head to look at her, the wife he had chosen himself. Yet at this moment, she seemed like a garish rose. A stark contrast to the one on stage. After it ended, the leader called excitedly. The Gu family was already preparing a celebration banquet, but unexpectedly we snatched it away. I heard Mr. Gu's face turned black with anger. I gave a non-committal response. Pei Song-sui and I went home together. He seemed particularly fond of floor-to-ceiling windows. When he held me from behind, I could see the lake on the side and the building across from us. The windows on the 13th floor opposite were always dark. No matter when I looked, there was only a dead, pitch-black silence. His whisper came to my ear. "You were beautiful on stage." My heart rate, he paused, is 563% faster than usual. His heartbeat was indeed very fast, drawing mine along with it. I turned around and pushed him away, ready to settle scores. "By the way, your colleague said you have a place in Cloud City. Is that true?" I stared at him, asking each question. "Is it in this complex? Or is it the 13th floor opposite?" Pei Song-sui's eyes flickered. "Ah, you is so clever." "As expected." "How did you know I was here?" "At first I didn't." His voice dropped. Later I overheard Chen Shu talking to his girlfriend about this place. 14. Actually, he lied to me. 3 years ago, he contacted me right after getting off the plane. When the phone didn't go through, he immediately understood my choice. Back then, he wasn't as well off as now. He couldn't even scrape together the money for a return ticket. So he worked like crazy, taking on all sorts of freelance gigs. Finally, not long after, he saved up enough money and took leave to fly back. But someone else was already living in my old place. He refused to give up, even considering giving up his project abroad and staying here, waiting for me to show up, until he stumbled upon an email in his inbox. It was a scheduled email I had set in advance. Originally, I had intended to create the illusion that I was still waiting for him. The email contained only one line: "Wishing you a bright future. May you be better than ever when we meet again." He was silent for a long time, and in the end, he flew back to the research institute. Later, he found out that Chen Shu, who occasionally came for academic visits, was my best friend's boyfriend. And inadvertently, he got my current address out of him. From then on, every vacation, he would take leave and come back. Afraid he might leak secrets, the director had someone tail him in secret. When a Chinese colleague at the institute heard about this, he laughed and waved his hand. Classic Chinese thing: buy a house and then feel empty inside. 3 years, not too long, not too short. The light behind that window had never once been on, but he was always there. 15 later, even Shunzi came to persuade me. "Brother Kun is really hooked this time. Stop torturing him. He invested so many resources in you before. Why be so ruthless?" I replied and blocked him. I forgot there's still you, his lackey. Then I blocked and deleted him. A strange number once sent me a message at 3 a.m. "When you looked at me back then, did you feel this miserable too? Xia Jingyu, let's make up." I knew he meant the 2 years we were together. He had a constant stream of female companions, and I quietly watched, playing the role of being understanding and non-contending. I didn't reply and blocked this number too. Pei Song-sui has returned and become better. I no longer need any kind of relief. Seasoning, he asked me what was wrong. I shook my head. It's nothing, just spam. But I don't understand. Back then, Gu-kun himself said to let the relationship be pure, don't mix in feelings. Why is it that he is the one who can't keep that promise now? But I didn't expect that my past relationship with Gu-kun would suddenly be exposed. The exposé said I had messy relationships. After climbing with Gu-kun, she then got in with the newly returned tech tycoon. Science news is rarely sensational. But Pae Sung-sue's looks went viral and many marketing accounts posted his videos. The incident quickly escalated, with most of the blame pointing at me. Gu-kun did not issue a statement. Instead, he contacted me through a new account. Come back. I can take care of those rumors for you. I neglected you before. I ignored him. When public opinion grew more intense, unexpectedly, the first person to speak up for me publicly was Su Jiao. She used her official account to say, "From when I started interacting with Gu-kun until now, Xia Jingyu has never been a third party. Please stop your malicious speculation about her." I sent her a private message to thank her and reminded her to think carefully about this marriage again. She replied, "I will think it over carefully." Then a video was released. It was recorded by Pae Sung-sue for me. In front of the camera, I spoke calmly. "Mr. Pae and I are indeed a couple, but this does not affect the efficacy of the device itself. Their team's achievements are world-class and will benefit countless patients in the future. As for Mr. Gu, we had a brief relationship but parted amicably. He is now engaged to Ms. Su. Please do not stir up the past to affect their relationship." I looked into the camera as if I could see Pae Sung-sue behind it, holding the lens. Then I smiled and added a sentence. Only after being with someone truly compatible did I realize that the past relationships were at most mere physical adjustments, quite dull. And Pae Sung-sue was never a substitute for anyone. Please stop here and focus on his scientific research achievements. Actually, I hadn't planned to respond, but I didn't want to drag Pae Sung-sue down. I hope that in the future, when his name is searched, the related entries will be his scientific achievements, instead of some messy marketing copy. After the public opinion subsided, I heard that Pae Sung-sue had a few conflicts with Su Jiao. The illegitimate child of the Gu family also made a scene at the Gu household. Gu-kun, who was originally sure of victory, has recently become visibly flustered. Securing the deal with Pae Sung-sue was supposed to be his ticket to turn things around. But now he not only has to fight for performance, but also guard against his covetous brothers. I put down my phone and looked at the man beside me, who was handling work. "Was it you?" I asked. "I've been following Gu-kun for 2 years. I know a thing or two about the Gu family. Old Master Gu has always valued Gu-kun, so he wouldn't easily let an illegitimate son into the family." Pae Sung-sue closed his laptop. "I've finished my work." He deliberately changed the subject. "Ayu, can you reward me with something new today?" When he came back, he said he didn't want to work. I had to force him to open his laptop. Soon, I had no time to think about anything else. I was overwhelmed by the new tricks he had learned. Before this, he had already investigated all the recent troubles, including the trending search, which was all Gu-kun's doing. A man who had been smooth sailing for over 20 years, getting whatever he wanted, naturally couldn't stand being rejected repeatedly. So Pae Sung-sue casually gave him a little something. A small gift. It didn't take much effort, just owed someone a favor. He didn't think it was a big deal. As long as it could make me happy, he was satisfied. Under the dual pressure of scandal and performance, Gu-kun's company fell into crisis. He wanted to ask Pae Sung-sue for investment or connections, but couldn't even get a meeting. Pae Sung-sue went out for work today, so I rested at home alone. Suddenly, I heard a noise at the door lock. Someone opened the door and came in. It was Gu-kun. He had kept a key before, then said he lost it and never used it. So I hadn't thought about changing the lock recently. I instinctively stepped back. Seeing my guarded expression, his face showed pain. "Xia Jingyu, do you really hate me that much?" He took a step forward, and I took a step back. "I wasn't good enough before. I regret it, Jingyu. Talk to Pae Sung-sue for me, as long as he's willing." Before he finished, his gaze suddenly fixed on the trash can behind me. And it was an empty ultra-thin box, strawberry flavored. Suddenly, a glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes. "Why is it my favorite strawberry flavor? You still have me in your heart, right? What about the half box I gave you?" I shot back. "Didn't you tell me to use it with someone else?" His eyes widened in fury. "With who? Xia Jingyu, do you have no heart?" Just then, a knock sounded at the door. I rushed over and opened the door. 2 security guards entered and politely but firmly escorted Gu-kun out. Pae Sung-sue pulled me into his arms. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. I shook my head. "I'm fine." After a pause, I looked up at him. "But I only just texted the security. How are you here?" He pressed his lips together and hesitated. He explained quietly, I wasn't monitoring you. Since you don't like me meddling, I put a tracker on Gu-kun's phone. Well done, 17. Gu-kun, after all, had spent years in the business world, his roots far deeper than those of any illegitimate children. Although the Gu Corporation was not what it once was, it was gradually recovering. Because of what had happened before, Pate Song-sui was always uneasy. He arranged for 2 bodyguards to accompany me daily. At a public event, the host jokingly asked Pate Song-sui, how do you view entanglements from past relationships? Usually, he never responded to personal questions. But this time he raised his eyes, his gaze passing over me and the audience. The corners of his lips lifted slightly. Outstanding people always attract some attention, but an upgraded system will no longer be compatible with outdated versions. The whole room chuckled knowingly, but Gu-kun sat among them with a grim expression. He still hadn't managed to break off the engagement with the Su family. He still needed the Su family's support. Beside him, Su Jiao let out a light laugh as well. He scolded coldly. What are you laughing at? Can't you be more sensible? Just then, someone at the neighboring table started discussing Pate Song-sui and me. Now that's a top-tier couple who truly lift each other up, both striving on their own. I heard Pate Song-sui transferred all his assets to Miss Ya. They never flaunt their relationship, but this is my ideal of love. The words hit Gu-kun's face like invisible slaps. Su Jiao listened, a hint of longing in her eyes. She glanced at Pate Song-sui on stage, then turned to look at him. What are you looking at? Gu-kun snapped irritably. She said clearly, at my ex. Gu-kun, let's call off the engagement. I suddenly feel that you're not really worthy of me. She paused, then added, especially in that department. Faint glances came from all around. That department? What department? The rumors are true, Gu-kun said, his face turning ashen. Su Jiao gritted her teeth and said, think carefully, if you leave me, who else can put up with your temper? Su Jiao smiled indifferently. You'd better take care of yourself first. Don't let your father's sons drag you down. After the event, I saw Gu-kun from a distance, but pretended not to notice. He tried to step forward, but was stopped by the bodyguards. Pate Song-sui's assistant approached at the right moment, his tone aloof. Mr. Pei instructed that if it's President Gu, there's no need for reminiscing. Miss Xia's schedule is very tight. Pate Song-sui, and I got into the car. Once inside, Pate Song-sui pulled me tightly into his arms. I used to believe everything in the world could be quantified like math with data, his voice low and slow. Even feelings, I thought, had to reach a certain number of times. Before you wouldn't leave. My face darkened. No wonder he had been so fierce before. He continued, until now. I've realized that feelings can't be quantified. I hastily covered his mouth, glancing at the driver. I warned in a low voice, we're outside. The partition in the middle slowly rose, sealing off the space. He then leaned close to my ear and added, only love can be 18 plus. The public has always been fond of gossip. When it comes to risque topics, they chat happily and get all excited. Even Gu-kun, who always acts aloof, became the center of discussion this time. Here's a scoop. President Gu apparently isn't good in bed, reportedly. Mac-type player, lighting a cigarette. I heard long ago that his ex-girlfriend's squad privately calls him Inoki Mushroom turned spirit. Suddenly, I feel sorry for Xia Jingyu, downgraded for 2 years, and still gets scolded. What kind of earthly asceticism is this? Pure bystander. So Sister Xia swapped from a full Manchu Han imperial feast, Pei, to a plain noodle soup, Gu. Now she's back to the full feast. This round is basically taste rehabilitation training, indeed. To be precise, it wasn't even plain noodles. It was instant noodles without the seasoning packet, that kind. The public opinion actually affected the stock price of the Gu Corporation. But I had no intention of paying attention. Netizens can discuss all they want. It's just that the yellow moonlight has started to exert its power again. I never thought that kind of thing could have so many variations. Of course, now I only feel fulfilled and happy. Gu-kun came looking for me a few more times. I knew he might not really like me that much. He just couldn't accept the shift. Couldn't stand that what once belonged to him, when he settled for second best, now considered even a glance at him to be a waste. He didn't even have the right to repent. All that prodigal son returns nonsense. That whole bad boy charisma thing, all bullshit. Now my career is steadily rising. Paid Sung-sui, without hesitation, stepped back behind the scenes. He focuses on research. He doesn't like publicity, saying it would cut into our time alone. I heard there's a Leonid meteor shower tonight, so he drove me to the mountaintop to camp. We sat side by side on the grass. The night sky was vast, stars hanging low. He suddenly asked, "When I went abroad 3 years ago, did you like me?" I nodded. I guess I did. If I didn't like him, I wouldn't have been so down for so long after he left. I wouldn't have experienced withdrawal symptoms. Could only ease it with a new relationship. If I didn't like him, I wouldn't have saved up for a ticket and secretly flown abroad just to take a distant look at him. After returning that time, I forced myself to live well. After all, he was doing fine over there. Come to think of it, this reunion, he hasn't formally brought up the word "get back together," but at this moment, 1,000 stars seemed to have fallen into his eyes. He took out a ring box, opened it. Inside was the one we saw when shopping years ago, the one I had my eye on, with marriage as the premise. His voice soft. "Can you date me for 3 months?" "Why 3 months? I'll propose after 3 months." He looked serious. They say marriage needs a romantic number. I've saved 520131400, but I'm a bit short on the bride price. I need 3 months to gather it. He always has his own plans. I extended my hand, watching him slip on that ring he'd prepared long ago. Okay, I agree. Actually, I already liked him back then. But I was busy moving forward on my journey. He also had his own future to pursue. I couldn't stand in the way of his future. Now is just right.